Hello and welcome. My name is Kasozi, and this time we're looking at a noise gate. You'll be able to take these techniques and apply them to any DAW that you use, so it doesn't matter what software you're working in, you'll find the same things there. The names might change a little bit, but it's the same stuff. Alright, let's dive in. Hello, Kaz here. We're back in the box. Firstly, let me introduce what we have here. So there's my teaching voice on one channel here, so you can ignore that. It's not part of the project. Then we got a voice, and then a bit box, well, a bit made by human, and then an EP down here. And with the voice, as you can see, there's nothing on the track at all, like we haven't put any effects or whatever. On my speaking voice here, this channel, I've got a gate on it here, as you can see. Let me make it bigger so that we're in no doubt what we're looking at. You can see it open when I'm speaking, and when I stop speaking, it's closed. And open again, then closed. Basically, it has been set so that it can cut out any noise, and right now it's raining heavily outside. The rain sound is coming through. So if I take this gate off now, you'll hear that rain. Actually, not just the rain. You can also hear some of the machines, because my microphone is right on the desk where there are other machines and so on. Back on. It cuts it out while I'm not speaking. So that doesn't mean that it has cut out the rain even whilst my voice is going. But if my voice is not running, then any sound that is below the loudness of my voice is actually cut out. So let's go and actually look at exactly how this thing works. Okie doke. So let's first listen what we're working with. All right. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bask in the light. Okay, you get the idea. So this voice has been recorded with the same microphone I'm using now to speak, SM58, and right here at the table without me switching off the speakers, without using headphones, say. So that means that the sound of the beatbox and the EP was actually leaking into the microphone. And if I play the voice alone, we hear this. Banagi, all right. In the morning, break of dawn. Yeah. What we don't want is that in-between sound. We don't want to hear on the vocal track the EP and the drum sounding. Or at the very least, if it's to bleed, we don't want it to bleed that loudly. The noise gate is something to help us like cut out any noise between our signals, so that we set a loudness level that allows our main signal, in this case the voice, to go through the gate, but then stop anything else. So once the level drops below the loudness of this vocal, the gate closes. And then when the level is up to the loudness of this vocal, then the gate opens. So let's apply the noise gate and we see how this works. Audio effects. And you'll find it inside the dynamics folder or menu. In most DAWs, this is where you'll find it, inside the dynamics folder. I've got it huge because someone complained in a previous video that the plugins were too small. There are various controls here, but there are 5 key that we're going to look at: threshold, reduction, attack, hold, and release. So the first one, threshold, is the most important. So this first area here is extremely important. This is where you set the level at which your gate will close and open. So what you're saying here, now this default that we've found, which is minus 50 dB, is that anything above minus 50 dB will be heard. And then when the level drops below minus 50 dB, the gate will close and you won't hear any of whatever is below this level. That's what the threshold is. It sets the level at which the gate gets engaged. If the loudness of the signal is above minus 50, in this case, then the gate will open. If it's below minus 50, the gate will close. Before you even look at anything else, let's just play that back. Banage. So we have to first set the threshold so that the level is high enough to stop that music playing. So right now, the music that we're hearing before the voice comes in is actually louder than minus 50 dB. So we have to raise it so that it's above, this level has to be above the loudness of that music, which in this case, at this point, is noise on this track. Banage, all right. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bask in the light. And when the sunshine comes up, I wanna break into song. Ooh. So we've got like a threshold of minus 27. So anything below is being cut out, anything above is being kept. But we're getting this kind of like stuttery sound. This is the first setting you make. It doesn't mean that once you've made that, everything is all neat. So it will stutter a bit because it's trying to like work out, okay, is it above, is it below, and so on. It will keep going back and forth. Like it gives you this jittery sound that is not cool. And that will be sorted out by working out these other parameters in this area: attack, hold, and release. But for now, let's first also consider that when it's cutting out, how much is it cutting out? You're deciding how much is being cut out with this reduction. If a level falls below minus 27, it will be shut out, being reduced by this level here. So if I set it at around, say, minus 30, then that means that whatever is below minus 27 on that channel will still play, but it will be reduced by only minus 30 dB, not by minus 100 dB. So let's have a look. Banage, all right. So you could almost still hear a few bits if I take it from 0, where nothing is being reduced, and then I'll start to decrease it as we go. Banage, all right. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bask in the light. And when the sun shines. So you can see there that this controls how much is taken down. Right now, I want it all out. I don't want any bits. You might wonder, why would you want some bits to still be there? If it's noise you want to remove. But noise is not always noise. Like in this case, for example, it's bleed. And if you're doing, for example, with drums, let's say the toms are bleeding onto the snare and vice versa. So on whichever track that you've applied the noise gate, you might want to, yes, reduce the other elements that are bleeding into that particular channel, but you want them to bleed in a more musical sense. So you leave a little bit of it there because these bleeds are sometimes natural. When the tracks are all put together, they can make them blend a little bit more. In other cases, you want to remove it completely. So here, I want it all gone. Let's now deal with that jittery part where it's like stuttering a bit. Before we go on to deal with the attack, hold, and release, let's look at this hysteresis. I can't actually pronounce this word. I don't know whether it's hysteresis, or something like that. But what it means here when we're dealing with a noise gate, you set another level that when the gate is releasing, it gives you a range of values within which it's releasing. Rather than having just minus 27 dB, it can add this. For example, if I put this at minus 4 dB, then what it means is that it's giving us another allowance of 4 dB going down. Maybe to make it a bit clearer, I'll make it. So if I put this at minus 3 dB, that means it gives us another leeway of minus 3 dB going down. So as it's closing, it doesn't close immediately, things fall at minus 27 dB. It allows another 3 dB going down. So that means it finally will close at minus 30 dB. If I extend this and put it to say minus 5 dB, then it will eventually close at minus 32 dB. So let's try that and see how that sounds. Banage, all right. So I can even pull this back a bit to maybe -7. Banagi, all right. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bust. Okay, so let's go and work on a bit more on how soon it comes in. We'll come back at this value here when we have controlled the release because they kind of work in tandem. I'll explain. So we go to the attack. This is where you set how soon, how quickly, or how softly the noise gate comes in. So if you put it at 0, that means as soon as a level comes in that is above -27 dB, the noise gate opens immediately, with immediacy. But if you make it a little bit later, that means that the sound will come in and then the noise gate will take 20 milliseconds to become fully open. And this can sometimes smooth out the workings of the noise gate so that it's not so abrupt. I want to put it maybe at around 4 milliseconds. So let's have a listen to that. Banagi, all right. Yeah, maybe a little bit more in. And then we've got this other setting here called hold. Once we get to the level that we are supposed to release, in this case -27 dB, then the hold will hold it back from releasing by the amount you've set. So it gives you another bit of room so that you can hold some of those things that sometimes are decaying, because you might have a phrase that's going la, and as it dies away, and then the noise gate cuts it out, because as it dies away, it crosses over. A bit of it is below -27, but it's still part of the sound that you need. The hold allows you those few milliseconds that can allow such elements to be preserved. So you set it accordingly. So I'm going to leave it at around -40 milliseconds. And again, we have a look at that. Banagi, all right. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bust in the light. You see, I've even got those little like rhythmic sounds within the vocal, and those are being affected by when the gate is opening and closing immediately and stuff like that. Those things also need to be preserved. And when you have the gate kind of like opening fast and closing fast, and it kind of like makes the sound choppy. So now we deal with the release, which means that after the holding on, then the release will start to close the gate. As the gate closes, this gives you like what I would call an automatic fade. If you leave it at 0, then it will just be abrupt. So all these three, hold, release, and hysteresis, are giving us some allowance to make the noise gate sound more natural, so that the sound that is affecting is not totally choppy, shuddery, and jittery the way we were hearing it before. So let's have a listen. Banagi, all right. In the morning, and I'm going to increase this. I wanna bust in the light, and when the sunshine comes up, I wanna break into song. Ooh, it's a new day. Ooh, it's a new day. But now I've increased the release really high, and I'm going to make the attack a little bit slower still. Banagi, all right. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bust in the light, and when the sunshine comes up, I wanna break into song. Ooh, it's a new day. Ooh, it's a new day. Banagi, all right. Yeah. And you can also help this out by having a look ahead. So what the look ahead does is just study the sound a little bit ahead so that the program can make a calculation that is a bit smoother because it can already see what is happening ahead. Banagi, alright. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bask in the light. And when the sunshine comes up. Okay, I have to say that on some noise gates, some controls might not be there. You most likely find the threshold and reduction, and then you'll find the attack and release. The hold might not be there at all. It may be working automatically in the background. And there are many noise gates that don't have the hysteresis function. Then the other thing that is not normally there is this section here. You can set these to filter out things that you don't want to trigger the noise gate, but leave the things that you want to trigger the noise gate to open. When you have this monitor on, you're listening to the frequencies that you're going to allow as trigger elements for the noise gate. Banagi, alright. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bask in the light. Now, the thing with this is that the beatbox is done also by a voice and the same microphone by the same person. The frequencies there are quite similar, but still, the frequencies we're hearing there are the only ones that are capable of triggering, but only if they're going over minus 27 dB. So if I take this off now, that was just so that I can hear it. If it's off here, it doesn't mean that actually this functioning is not happening. It's when this is off, then it's not happening. But if this is on, it will work even when this says off, because this switching is just for being able to monitor what you've cut out. And you see it can say band pass or band reject. So you can actually switch over and choose it to define what you want to reject. So in this case, we're choosing what we want to actually keep. Banagi, alright. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bask in the light. And when the sunshine comes up, I wanna break into song. Right now, I can even increase the threshold to take it up a bit after I've said these things, because I can see it can be smoother still. Banagi, alright. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bask in the light. And when the sunshine comes up, I wanna break into song. Yeah? Of course, like with this kind of thing where the bleed is very continuous, it's like tougher to get a setting on a noise gate that works. But you can clearly see that if I take it off, Banagi, alright, that is too much compared to this. Banagi, alright. With that bleed of the beatbox and the EP suppressed, this is a more workable track. I'm not going to use the darker right now because that will fall into another lesson when we're looking at more creative uses of the noise gate as opposed to practical uses, which is what we were doing now. Just bear in mind that the noise gate can't actually cut out the sound on top of the original sound, meaning that it only cuts it out when the original sound falls below the threshold that you've set here. But it can't cut it out completely. For those sorts of tasks, you have to use other plugins that are more to do with noise removal, noise and click removal, as opposed to gating, just closing out the noise. Because closing it out is not removing it. Those will be different devices. So I hope this makes sense, and look out for future videos that will be dealing with the noise gate for creative tasks as opposed to practical tasks as we did here. Alrighty then, that's it. Take care now. Alright. In the morning, break of dawn, I wanna bask in the light. And when the sunshine comes up, I wanna break into song. So you get the idea.